Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the Marvel Legends Series 3 Wolverine figure. This is one that I keep getting requested to review. I think it's all from the same person, but if it's multiple people, then I hope you guys are all happy with this, and if it's just the one person, now you don't have to ask anymore, because here it is, I finally got a chance to do it. This is, I think, the first Marvel Legends Wolverine. Series 3 sounds correct to me. It's been a while now. And it's actually one of the most accurate of the Tiger Stripe Wolverine, which is the suit like from the 90s cartoon, if you're familiar with that. The more Jim Lee recognizable outfit that everybody is really kind of fond of, post brown suit Wolverine. It's super accurate, and this figure does some things really well, but it's a really early figure, so it does some things not so well also. So we're going to take a look at it. He stands about 6 1/4 inches tall to the top of his head, not the top of his ears, just the yellow part. And that's about 15.5 centimeters. Most of the articulation is standard Marvel Legends. So for the head, it's a little different. I like it, even though there's a big gap in there. You get a double ball peg, so you can move the head around all over the place, however you want to pose it. Additionally, that neck is on a swivel, so you can move that neck around. And it's necessary because it's sculpted at an angle, so that's a little problematic. Which is one of the big problems with this figure, is that, as you might have noticed, his torso is not articulated, which would be fine if he wasn't sculpted all twisted up. He's sculpted in a very particular pose, so it's going to be problematic for you to pose him how you wish. He's only got his one shoulder up and to the back a little bit, and this one forward, almost like he's in like an angry walk pose. So it's going to be hard to pose him in many other ways. That's one of the main problems. That being said, the sculpt work is really good. You have nice musculature, and the tiger stripes, as they call them, are all sculpted. You can see stitch work on there, and they're painted fairly well. Not great, but not too bad. He does have some black shading throughout the yellow. It unfortunately doesn't carry up through to that upper neck part. He has the shoulder pads, which are placed in a pretty decent location. They're not 100% accurate, but they're not bad, and they are kind of metallic. Unfortunately, they have a kind of an aqua color to them rather than a solid blue, so they could be better, but they're not bad. And they are hard, so they're going to limit the articulation a little bit. For the shoulders, we have the standard ball hinge, which isn't too bad considering we have those shoulder pads in there, but it's not great. We do have the hair painted on there, which is actually one of the better hair paintings on Wolverine's arms that we've seen out of all of the Wolverine figures. Coming from the first one, they did a pretty good job. We have our bicep swivel and a double jointed elbow. Old school joints, not the best looking, but fairly effective. Not bad for a double joint at all. We have a wrist swivel up here. Again, it's not as good as it could have been, but it is there, so that's okay. We have a wrist hinge and a finger hinge, which doesn't really work that well. Actually, mine's stuck, but it doesn't make a great fist either way. And as you can tell, the blues, not 100% uniform. A little problematic. Paintwork on the claws, pretty sloppy. The sculpt work is actually not bad. They tend to warp, but a little hot water or a hairdryer can fix that. Aside from the paintwork, they are actually pretty decent claws. They're not super thick, they're not super long. I think they're actually pretty good. This hand doesn't make a fist at all with the hinge. It's got more of a gripping hand, but same articulation. We do have a waist twist here, of course. We have to have at least a waist twist since the rest of the torso is all sculpted. We have T-jointed hips that don't look great, but they are super functional. So we can bring the leg all the way forward like that, really far, and then of course all the way out to the side, again, really far. So the crotch is a little ugly, but the legs themselves, not too bad, and it's all sculpted again for the seam of the clothing. We have a cut joint here, so a swivel in the thigh. The black shading or gray shading carries on from the torso all the way down here. It looks pretty good. The yellows are not quite uniform in some places. That might be fading. I can't say. It's a really old figure. Let's see, is there a date on here? There is. Let's see, 2003. So 12 years old. Pretty old figure. Some of this might be shading, might be fading. A brand new one that's never seen sunlight might look a little bit better, but I'm thinking it's just that random Toy Biz paint jobs that weren't so great. And then as you can see here, they painted the peg ends. Not a great job, but it's, you know, it's a really old figure, so they weren't the best at QC back then, and we're still dealing with the same problems now. Double jointed knee, really good range of motion. We get a shin swivel, which I don't like, but some of you do. Pretty decent ankle articulation, a toe hinge, and technically an ankle rocker, but it's pretty limited. So, you know, a lot of this guy is sculpted pretty well, even the face. I don't particularly like the non-white eyes, and I don't really care for that particular look for him, but it's still good sculpt work, and a lot of people do like it, so I can see why this is still some people's favorite Wolverine figure. Very comic book-esque. It just has some kind of appeal to it that looks really good. I do appreciate this figure, even though it's not my personal favorite. I can see why a lot of people like it, and I think you might also, and I think he's fairly cheap, so you might want to track one down. I think maybe the only one that's comparable to this age-wise is the one that came with the X-Jet and also came in one of those, I think, X-Men Classics packs. I don't have it to show you, but it had like a gimmick on the back, but it also looked pretty good and had some nice features about it. So I would track down this one if I was you. If you don't already have it, it might be worth adding. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.